Shri Prabha Varma ji, it's always pleasure to sit with him and I listen to his views on literature and other subjects. Professor G. Balachandran ji, author of the book which is released today, Srimati Indra Balachandran. I am told that she herself has written 3 books, but I am sure that without her support, this book would not have been possible. Srimati I.B. Rani, IPS, Priyapetta Suhetukkile, Elavarkumente Namaskaram. I am absolutely delighted to release the book Innaleyude Theerath on the shores of yesterday, which is the autobiography of Professor G. Balachandran, a lifelong teacher, political activist, and a very well-known orator of Kerala. He devoted his life in the pursuit and spread of knowledge and served as professor at Sanatan Dharma College, Elapura. This is his 4th book. 2 of the earlier books were on literature and literary contribution of Gyan Peeth winner Takadi Shiva Shankaran Pillai, novelist. In our tradition, a question has been asked, because the books, they are addition to the literature, fine arts. So a question has been asked, what is art? What is the purpose of art? What is the purpose of literature? And the reply which has given is, Kam Paramatmanam Lati Girhanati Iti Kala. It is that by which you grasp the eternal, you realize the eternal, the beauty of the eternal. That is what art, literature and fine arts are all about. Result of that kind of consecrated service, of that kind of complete dedication to a task which take up. And I would also like to quote a Western very prominent literary figure who said that I never have the courage to write autobiography, because if I write autobiography, I become public property with no privacy left. But since Professor Balachandran has lived a life which has always been considered like a public property, therefore I congratulate you for your courage, if I may use that word in political terms. In the book, Professor Balachandran admits that he turned to writing a little later in life, since he was always in the forefront of activities which were academic, social, cultural and political. He is better known for his political activities, which include being a member of All India Congress Committee, President of District Congress Committee, and he also contested 2005 parliamentary election as a Congress candidate. When Shri A.K. Antony was the State President of Kerala Students' Union, Professor Balachandran was vice president. Later, he became convener Youth Congress when Shri Mullapalli Ramchandran was its leader. He also served as chairman Coir Board, chairman Kerala State Coir Workers Welfare Fund Board, and chairman Cashew Apex Body during different periods. In the Sanatan Dharma College in Ellapura, where he served as teacher, during his student days, he was chairman of the college union. He was equally interested in literary and cultural movements. He served as vice president and Vailar Rama Varma Memorial Trust. He even edited a literary magazine, Samanvayam. In the book, which covers 75 years of his life, it parades a galaxy of people making the work a who is who of Kerala's political and cultural life. In a way, the book is an insider's narration of the political, cultural and literary events of Kerala in the last 6 decades or more. The literary figures like Takadi, Keshava Dev, poets Vailar Rama Varma, O.N.V. Kuru, and political leaders from Srimati K.R. Gauriyamma, Shri K. Karunakaran, Shri A.K. Antony, down to the young leaders of today find a mention in the book due to authors' regular interactions with them. The frankness with which he admits his humble beginnings. He says, from zero, his student days, the misfortunes during childhood and youth, tragic loss of some of his family members, the rustic life in a village in Ellapura, his involvement in student politics, that is all very candid, and he recalls luck and misfortune embraced me in turns. The tragic death of his father due to burn injuries happened in November 1980. He writes naturally, very emotionally, about his father who carried a photo and address of his son, so that he will tell him that so that people would inform you if I fell on the road. He recalls many of his teachers and a principal who denied him whole ticket to write BA examination due to shortage of attendance. But in later years, the same principal wrote to the college management that he could appoint Mr. Balachandran as lecturer with his eyes shut. The description of his student days recalls the first strike where a jeep was burned down, about passing a resolution against the then governor, late Shri A.P. Jain, and the author became one of the accused in the case which was lodged by the police. The book has an interesting narration of the adventurous ways of evading police action and arrest, and one of them was going disguised before the police as one who milks cows in a house. Apart from these adventures, we get an account of the inner stories of some of the political developments in Kerala with which people are acquainted only through news reports. Professor Balachandran, being a participant in many such discussions, could narrate those events as objectively as it is possible for someone who is a political activist. He is an acclaimed orator and organizer of political and cultural events, right from his college days. In the book, he describes in different chapters about how his public speeches were received by the common people. At one place, when he and Professor N.K. Shanu made short speeches, since people were waiting to see a drama, a group of people got up and insisted that they speak for longer time, saying that drama can wait. In 1980, when Mrs. Indira Gandhi came to Elapola, he was not among those who would be or even near the stage. Naturally, he was disappointed, but fortunately, a police officer came to him and asked him to test the mic. He went on the stage and said, "Mic testing," and this aroused great public response, and then he continued to speak and kept, Mrs. Gandhi had not reached there till that time, and he continued to speak for more than an hour and kept the audience engaged, waiting for the Prime Minister to reach there. However, the book is not an account of only the well-known figures. This is very important to my mind. Even the life of ordinary people of Elapola, their festivals, games, struggles, their joys, their sorrows are narrated with a penchant for details. A touch of nostalgia appears in all those descriptions about ordinary people, and we are taken directly to the village settings of Elapola and Kuttanad of almost 70 years ago. One finds it easy to relate his closeness to Kuttanad and his interest in the coir industry, since Elapola district is known for its coir products. His affinity towards novelist Takari also relates our thinking to the novelist masterpiece Coir, meaning coir. His work as chairman of Coir Board finds a place in the book. It is well known that he tried to give a new face to the coir industry by holding international exhibitions, initiating an international coir museum, and through his role as key architect of India-Qatar Coir Pith Export. He also gives a historical note about the development of coir industry. The autobiography reveals Professor Balachandran, and this has really impressed me most, that he is revealed as a man who has robust sense of gratitude for everything he was blessed with, and no regret for things that he could not achieve, particularly in political arena. This is extraordinary. This kind of attitude I find very extraordinary in someone who has been active in political life. Instead, he comes out with a remarkable positive attitude. Being a bit self-critical, he admits, my own body language and way of talking and audacity has made my political life incur certain losses. I can never behave in an artificial manner. I have been faithful to the truth in my account of the events of my life. I do not intend to hurt anyone. The events of our life are dictated by destiny. No use denying it. It is best to welcome it. But Professor M. K. Shanu, who wrote the preface, speaks of the hearty way in which the author has maintained relations in life. In politics, he survived events which could discourage any person of ordinary merit. Family has always been dear to him, and one is left in no doubt after Raniji has given the account how concerned he used to feel during her college days when she was already 22. His was a love of marriage, the so-called intercaste marriage from which families of both the bride and groom kept away. But his social activities did not hamper his familiar happiness in any way, thanks to the extraordinariness in his character, writes Professor Sun. His daughter, Shrimati I. Virani, who conducted the program, who is Joint Director of the Intelligence Bureau, and his son is an advocate. He is practicing in Tiruvendra? Arif. So, he and Mrs. Balachandran both have every reason to feel very satisfied and happy for with their lives and the legacy which they will leave behind. I congratulate Professor Balachandran, Mrs. Balachandran, for this wonderful book, and I very strongly feel that writing biographies, particularly autobiographies, has not been an Indian tradition. In fact, it had its own disadvantages. The result was that even very well documented historical documents, they have been reduced to the status of mythology. Why? Because we did not write, we were not in the habit of writing things in accordance with the requirements of historiography. And books like these are autobiographies, they are a great source of help in writing for the future historians to write history of any particular region or the area. They will prove to be very helpful. So I once again congratulate you, and I am sure, I am confident that the book will be received enthusiastically by the readers, and it will be a source of benefit to many of us. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.